Let's talk a little bit about the importance of cybersecurity. It is understated, although that is quickly going away as cyber attacks are growing exponentially over the last, say, 15 years. Some of the important aspects of cybersecurity as it is today, as it's always an evolving field, but some of the things we're trying to prevent in cybersecurity is stop people from getting to data that they should not have access to, that is unauthorized access to that data, protecting against different data breaches, protecting the confidentiality of data, that's the C in the CIA triad, ensuring the business continuity, that's the A, that means we do not want services to go down, especially if we provide services to businesses or people, especially if there's some kind of contractual agreement we have with those people known as like a service level agreement or something like this. Supporting safe online transactions, maintaining both the integrity of transactions of what you want your presence to do online and the confidentiality of those services as well. Building trust in digital infrastructure. It becomes increasingly difficult to build a completely secure system. There is really no such thing as a completely secure system, which is why cybersecurity is such a growing field, is because there are very many disparate technologies that exist all around us in today's world, and we as cybersecurity professionals are really trying to always innovate different ways to protect all these different disparate technologies to work cohesively and securely at the same time. Some of the other important things you might find interesting in cybersecurity today is that most of cybersecurity attacks, especially the really bad ones, seem to be 90% start off with a phishing email. That is an email that usually has some type of malicious link attached to it. These malicious links can then be clicked on, and then they could also be downloading malware onto your system, or they could fool somebody into filling out forms and providing information that they shouldn't, username and password, for instance. About 50% of IT leaders believe that password security is no longer strong enough as a security measure. There used to be documentation provided by some of the world's leading experts in cybersecurity that gave parameters for passwords to be strong enough to basically be safe. This is no really longer the case with the advent of AI and the increase of computing power exponentially. You'll see that passwords are really no longer a valid way to secure systems. It's not a completely invalid way, but as these technologies grow, because technology seems to grow at an exponential rate recently in the past 10 or 15 years, we're trying to move away from that into different operations of managing secrets. Organizations with a architecture and a zero trust approach, I'll talk about that in a second, saw an average breach cost of about $1.7 million less than organizations without. Zero trust is basically taking every system that you have on a network and separating it so nothing inherently trusts each other. Traditional IT architecture has it that systems on the same network or within the same domain inherently trust each other. Zero trust architecture basically has everything go through a validation process, in essence, so that no one thing could talk to another item without some kind of validation that is actually a trusted entity on your network. Organizations that implement zero trust architecture have seen way better results than ones that have tried to stay on a traditional IT architecture without that. So it's a very interesting approach that seems to be working for a lot of organizations. 45% of organizations experience one or more attacks that exploit vulnerabilities on their VPN servers. With the increase in remote work, globally, that is, a lot of attacks have been trying to be geared towards VPN servers. It is border gateway. That means like the edge of your network. Think of it as like a very big wall of defense all around your network. It's traditionally how people used to defend their networks. But we've kind of gone away from this style of architecture in cybersecurity where we don't focus as much on the border as we do on the internal infrastructure. The problem with remote work, and it's a good thing, right, in general. The problem with it, though, is you have a lot of different connections that have to be authorized and verified coming into a network from all over the world, coming from different networks. So we have to find a way to match a balance between the availability of these services and the security of them. So that's a very interesting thing. It's becoming a much larger problem in cybersecurity due to the fact that a lot more remote workers or positions are becoming available. Companies on average, IT cost companies on average $1.8 million to recover from ransomware attacks, and that was in 2023. And remember, that is just an average for like single companies. Some of these attacks that we've been seeing increasingly have cost billions of dollars, and we're going to talk about some of the types of attacks that have happened for that exact reason. So what are some of the impacts that we've seen of these cyber attacks? Financial loss is a definite one for the Colonial Pipeline and the Spirit healthcare that we saw. Operational disruptions, providing services that the way we would like to, or our company even does, is disrupted. Our reputation becomes very strained and difficult. You can't really, like for the case of SolarWinds, their market share went down extremely. So their market value was basically tanked after that, and it hasn't really recovered since this incident happened. So they have a very good product, but it's hard to rebuild reputation after things like this have happened. There's a lot of legal consequences, like in the case of Spirit Healthcare. They came under a lot of fines from HIPAA. HIPAA is the Health Information Privacy Act. That basically stops you from sharing health information, even if it's on accident or somebody did it maliciously, you're not allowed to. So HIPAA got a lot of legal consequences due to that, basically as bad as it can get. And then compromised data, once people's information is out there, it's basically out there forever. There's no really recalling it. So once that information was leaked, it's really just out there for anybody to grab if they want it.